him being cool enough to stick around and them being comfortable enough in their own skin to attempt to make it work has allowed them an opportunity in what could have been a completely lost season. I mean, to me, you got to be feeling pretty good about the Niners' chances on every level. The defense pitching another shutout in the second half. They're spreading it around on offense. The running game's clicking. They're healthy and getting healthier. No injuries to report off of last night's game. And Garoppolo's executing, whether it's the Shanahan plan or it's dumbed down or whatever. Like, I don't even care what you think of why or how it's getting done. He's executing it at a level to where they're getting on a little bit of a roll at the right time. And we've seen when this team gets on a roll at the right time, last year, 2019 down the stretch, they're a tough out in the playoffs and probably even better than a tough out. They're a team that you could almost count on to win a game or two in the postseason.
I would agree. By the way, this segment brought to you by Pfizer. Let's go out to Austin in San Jose. Austin's in San Jose. What's going on, Austin? How you doing?
Fellas? What's up, guys?
Hey.
Listen, just a little funny. I listened to you, man, and I know that this is from a non-Niner perspective, fan basis. I can tell you what the fans are thinking. First of all, the management of the Niners sold this on the fans. They're the ones that went out and tried to replace Jimmy. So they basically said, hey, Jimmy's not good enough. Then they bought him back. So now you're asking fans to go along with it when the organization was the one that said that Jimmy wasn't good enough. So I think the fans are reacting to that. I also think you guys aren't giving enough credit to the fans. I mean, people look around the league, and the fact that, there's some really good teams out there. I know you're saying the Niners are favorite, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. I mean, there's a lot of good teams in NFC right now. They've got to prove they could beat one-on-one. I know it sounds like they can, but there's no guarantees. And then last thing, Steiny, when you bring on Myers, could you do me a favor and ask him, please, if you don't mind, what was that last night, and why does he expect fans to be able to watch that kind of product from the Warriors, man? We deserve better as Warrior fans than what we saw last night. Okay.
Thanks, Austin.
That's on my list.
Yeah,
It's on my list. I mean, last night was disgusting. And like, I understand the reasons why.
Right.
And we don't have to get all into it right now. Like, I understand the rest is the most important thing. But, and the Warriors, to their credit, they haven't had too many of those games where they've done that turn into that.
Right.
But anytime you choose to go down the path they went down last night with the developmental game, the result of last night is on the table.
Absolutely. Especially at 8-10. Because the vibe is that we're fine. And maybe they are. Well, they would know better than us. They're four-time champions.
I just keep coming back to, real quick, the caller we had yesterday, and I can't remember the gentleman's name, but it was, I'm excited to watch I'm excited. Like, that, like, I seriously want to, put my head up against the wall and just start pounding it when somebody says, I'm excited to watch really? Like, who would be excited to watch that?
Well, we didn't know it was going to look like that.
Well, you got to have an inkling that it might.
True. Matt's in San Jose. Hey, Matt.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing well.
Just wanted to make a quick statement about Jimmy.
Yeah.
The way he plays. He did learn from Tom Brady, who was historically more of a short pass guy, dink and dunker, and a game manager, although I'm not comparing Jimmy to Tom Brady, but that's the system he learned in, and that may just be the best thing that works for him. And I think he's doing it well, and I honestly don't think they'd be in the same position if Trey Lance was playing at full health this year. So thanks, guys. Love the show. Bye.
Yeah. It's hard to imagine Trey Lance would be quarterbacking a better 49er team than the way they look right now.
No, in fact, it probably would have gotten completely off the rails when they were struggling to the level that they were struggling with the injuries that they had and everything as well. But that's not even, for me, that's not what today's about. Like, today's not about getting into the comparisons of what it would have been or wouldn't have been.
But there's an unfairness, I think. And you know what? Listen, if you're not a big Jimmy Garoppolo fan, you know the number 888-957-9570. I just when I look at Jimmy Garoppolo, and I know there's a segment of the fans that don't like him. What bothers me, JD, is the kind of the Super Bowl or bust mentality. Like, so what you're telling me with the Super Bowl or bust mentality is You get to be a 49er fan and watch Jimmy Garoppolo, even though you don't like him, and he wins games and he gets to the playoffs, and the minute he has a bad game, it's going to be, see, can't win with Jimmy.
It's a
can't win with Jimmy. Fran Tarkenton went to the Super Bowl 4 times and didn't win the Super Bowl. Jim Kelly went 4 times and didn't win the Super Bowl. Is Jim Kelly not good enough? Well, he's in the Hall of Fame. So's Fran Tarkenton. Like, sometimes it's not the quarterback's fault. Let's go to Justin in San Jose. What's up, Justin? How you doing, man? What do you got for us today?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Hey, man, you know I'm a Jimmy G lover, and I'm going to give him his respect. He's a complete quarterback to me. I fell in love with Jimmy G when he first came to the San Francisco. It's the coaching staff that failed Jimmy, that didn't put the correct pieces around him to show he can throw that ball, the ability that he can throw the ball down deep. Now that he got some few little pieces, he's a perfect quarterback for this system for the short game. Now, we don't got no Jefferson, we don't got no A.J. Brown or Smith to go beat us deep. Now, if we get one of those pieces, then Jimmy will really show what type of quarterback he is. I love how he played the game yesterday, and he just needs to get that respect, because without Jimmy, we wouldn't be in this predicament now that we are in.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to say.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Justin. Have a good Thanksgiving. You too, buddy. You too, buddy. Great win for the 49ers. 38-10. It's the most they've scored this year, right? They had 37 against Carolina, I believe. 37-15.
Similar game, I thought, to the Carolina game, where they started to grab control of it, and then in the second half just blew the doors off the joint.
Let me ask you this, JD. Do you think it was just happenstance, maybe a couple coincidences lining up in a row that had Jimmy Garoppolo end up back here? Or do you think, see, one of my things is, I feel like, I know everybody uses shoulder surgery, but I don't think Lynch was in a hurry to trade him all summer, because I think he was asking way too much, right?
Yeah, I think they were going to play it out, and we talked about this a lot in the summer. They were going to play it out until the last possible day that they had to. Like, that was always going to. Remember, we used to get calls and texts. Got to do it now. Why you got to do it now? Are you doing right by Jimmy? You wait till the last possible day. And when you wait till the last possible day, circumstances change to the point where maybe you can engage in conversations that you didn't originally think you could engage about.
Right.
And I think that was what happened as Garoppolo was around the team a little bit more, and they were able to watch Trey Lance play a little bit. And it became apparent that Garoppolo wasn't going to have the market that maybe he thought. And so staying with the 49ers, if he had to be a backup, and it became clear he was going to have to be a backup, staying with the 49ers was the best opportunity for him to be a backup. And I think in his mind, the thought process was, well, I may get a chance to play, but also I may get a chance to recoup some of the money that was never going to get from the original contract unless somebody had traded for him. So yeah, $6 million plus, all of the extra 350s that he's going to get, basically a season full of 350s, because he started playing as a starter or playing more snaps in week 2. He played enough snaps to qualify in week 2 because Trey Lance went out of that game so early. So it became a win-win for him. Plus, if he did get thrown in as the backup, he was comfortable with the players he was playing with, and so that would give him the best chance to succeed, to move elsewhere. It was really about that. It's now where it's almost shifting. I mean, for the first time, I put it out of my head, but then it's like, because there's always,
of course, I know what you're going to say. I think
now you're hearing the murmurs of, well, do they have to try to hang on to him for next year? Which I guess that's just the natural news cycle of needing certain things to talk about, but that feels a little premature to me.
Well, but I don't think it's premature to talk about a team that's 6-4. They look good. They have a quarterback that the franchise didn't want a year ago, kept him around. A lot of the fan base is split on him. I mean, I get that some fans are Super Bowl or bust, but you get to the NFC Championship game again this year, and you lose. So you've been to 1 Super Bowl and 2 NFC Championships with Jimmy Garoppolo. Are you really going to move off him for Trey Lance?
Well, they did it last year.
Are you really going to do it again?
It would be tough for me.
I mean, I almost feel like Kyle Shanahan...
You're setting up Trey to fail at that point.
Exactly.
In a way.
I almost feel like Kyle Shanahan had a real good discussion with his veterans about Trey Lance. We're going to give him a shot early. Work with us, kind of. And I think that team's buttoned up enough that they said, as a group, yeah, okay, it's fine. We'll try Trey Lance. And he got hurt. Now, maybe 2 or 3 games down the line, they would have found out they don't have their best chance to win with him. But the fact is, when Jimmy Garoppolo came in, he's totally comfortable with his team and vice versa. Bob's in San Francisco. What's going on, Bob?
How you doing? Love the show, guys.
Thank you.
Well, first off, I want to say Fran Tarkenton only went to 3 Super Bowls. Joe Kapp did that first one.
Oh, thank you. I love to be corrected like that. Thank you. I'm going to double check it though.
Well, remember Joe Kapp was the Cal football coach during the big ending there. Anyway, yeah, I think Jimmy is a. I mean, he's really showing his worth this year, and I think he's looking really good. I, of course, always liked Jimmy, but I understand them wanting to move on to trade. So, I wasn't upset about nothing, but just wanted to see the progression. And, I think they got to hold on to him at this point. I don't know who else they'll have unless trade really, gets better. So that's what I got.
Yeah, appreciate the call. Yeah, Fran Tarkenton took the Vikings to 3 Super Bowls in a 4-year period.
Nice. And you mean it when you say you like to be corrected by like.
I do.
Yeah, you're a stickler for accuracy.
Yeah.
Even if
you're
wrong.
I thought it was 4.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't care.
No.
You want to get it right.
Thank you.
You want to get it right even if you're wrong.
There you
Number
go.
4.
There you go. What, is that how many mistakes I made today? I don't think so.
Just on the in and out reads. That's everything else has been on point.
Hey, speaking of that, we're celebrating Thanksgiving this Thursday with the Cowboys and Giants live on 95.7 The Game. Coverage begins at 1 o'clock, kickoff at 1:30. Then join us Friday for live and local shows from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. before the Warriors take on the Jazz Friday night. Don't miss out on any Thanksgiving or Black Friday coverage on the Bay Area sports station 95.7 The Game. Jimmy, Dublin, what do you got, buddy?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing well.
All right, yeah, man, it just kind of irks me, man, when, these, I don't get it, man. I mean, I understand, people, I mean, I really don't understand it, but at the same time, okay, Trey Lance is a up-and-coming quarterback, unproven, potential is really another word for, you haven't done anything.
Sure.
And it's like, I think Shanahan, like what you just said, if they make it to the NFC Championship again or even to the Super Bowl, I think Shanahan is stubborn enough that if Trey Lance is healthy, he'll start him.
He might.
I just don't understand. What do these Niner fans want? Like, I'm trying to figure out. Like, I mean, what do you want? Like, do you want like a Michael Vick type quarterback? You want a Tom Brady to come once every 30 years? Like, what do you want?
They both. They want the best of both of them. You know what I mean?
Well, I got one question. Yeah, definitely. I got one question before I go, and you can answer it off the air.
Sure.
Who are you taking, Garoppolo or Derek Carr? Hey, happy Thanksgiving to you guys, man, and happy holidays. You guys have a good one.
All right.
That's a tough one.
I mean, Derek Carr would
goes
be pretty,
back. It goes back and forth.
It does over the last few years. It
over the entire time that they've both been in the league or on the Niners.
Yeah, this year I'm taking Garoppolo.
Well, but it has gone back and forth. Last year you take Carr. Year before you might take Garoppolo. Year before that you might take Carr.
Love the show, guys, but do you really honestly believe Lance can't do what Jimmy does?
I do. This year I do. Again, I don't want to make it about that today.
No, you're right. You're right.
I really don't want to make it about that today, but because you asked the question, no, I don't. I think the Niners might have been 2-4, 1-5 if Trey Lance had been the starting quarterback the first 6 games. Everything else that was going on.
The last caller brings up an interesting point, and I don't know what Shanahan would or wouldn't do, but I do believe he could be stubborn enough to get to the Super Bowl again and say, well, it's Trey Lance's time.
But that's not even that crazy of a decision when you look at what they've invested in going out and getting Trey Lance and the fact that Garoppolo is somebody that now is going to be a free agent and want a significant raise, and maybe
that's true,
and maybe even a more, like, that's all. But it's not just, do you want to keep Jimmy Garoppolo? It's, do you want to keep Jimmy Garoppolo making $25-30 million a year because he might say, hey, I just got you to a Super Bowl and my numbers were better than they've ever been. Like,
but is somebody else going to pay him?
Maybe not, but he can still look. And he was very practical in agreeing to come back,
for sure.
And it worked. It was a mutual thing, that worked both ways. But he didn't have to. Like, he could say, "Hey, Niners, you're paying a tax for putting me through the ringer the last 2 or 3 years. Like, you're going to pay extra for that." He could. He maybe doesn't. I mean, it sounds like he's a pretty affable guy and not maybe holding a grudge.
Doesn't seem like it.
Or if he did, he got over it.
Or if he's holding the grudge, he's great at keeping it deep down.
Yeah.
And we'll only know that if he tells the 49ers if something happens and he goes, yeah, I'm not coming back here under any circumstances.
But there's a lot of factors involved here.
For sure.
And how healthy is Trey Lance going to be is another one. Because if Trey Lance is going to need all of 2023 to get healthy, to get back to 100, and then and you're really not getting the full Trey Lance till 2024, that's a factor in it. I think, and I always come back to one of your favorite things that I say, and that is we got to see how it ends.